December. It's time for the Cummins Real Estate Group show with local rockstar realtor Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. Good morning, Michele.
Good morning, Curtis. December 17th.
Always good to have you in studio because that means you're not indulging in the Christmas coffees while I'm chatting with you.
Oh, what you don't know. Actually, no, I got my good protein or vitamin water going on
There
here.
you go.
Yeah, my niece gave me that, which was very kind. You know, we got to get our vitamins in us. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, very important. And that's the easiest way for me to do it. In
Well, yeah,
water.
because you're going to drink water regardless.
Exactly. So you might
Amongst
as well
other things.
make it flavorful. Vodka's water.
Vodka, it starts as water, I think. Part of it's water.
Not this morning, but however, I did have a glass of vodka after the Kane Brown concert on Thursday. That was so fun.
It was a good show. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, it took us a while to get there in traffic yesterday and everything else, but we got there in time to see Kane at the stage. I missed both opening acts.
I did not know opening acts go so long. I was just like, is this the whole concert? Isn't Kane Brown coming out?
It depends on the act. Sometimes they give them a good 45-minute slot. Sometimes they only get like 20 minutes. It depends who they are and things like that, right? And yeah, so I always like when they give them a lot of time because then you get to know these other artists.
What was yours and Kelly's favorite song that Kane Brown did?
Well, I don't know for sure what my wife is because my wife's a big Kane Brown fan. That's why we were there. But I love I love One Mississippi. I think that's probably
So good.
Probably my favorite song of his. But it was a good night. I mean, he played a lot of great songs, and I said it had more of a rock edge than I expected.
It did totally.
Yeah, it was
even
a country
the light show.
Yeah, it was a country show, but it was pretty rocking.
Yeah, well, he's got the rock in him, right?
He
too,
does.
So it makes sense. But his wife wasn't there with him.
I know that was a bit of a disappointment because it was all over social media how she'd been touring across Canada with him and she'd been coming up on stage and singing their duet with him. I'm not sure if you saw a guy got tossed out of the venue.
I didn't see that.
During that song.
No way.
I'm not sure what he did. It was like 2 or 3 cops and 2 or 3 security guards dragging him out. He was putting up a bit of resistance too, and they were struggling to get him out of the place.
I know the 2 ladies were sitting right next to me were having a hootenanny of a time. They were dancing all over the place, pushing everybody around them, screaming, yelling. I was like, I thought I am a hyper one.
The poor girl behind us, the young lady behind us, she was 25. She slipped, tripped, almost fell into us, and dumped her drink on the back of into our chairs, and we weren't sitting in them.
Oh my gosh!
And like the 3 of us, this poor girl, she wanted to crawl under her seat. She was so embarrassed because it wasn't like she was having too good of a time and that she was falling over drunk or anything, but she just tripped something, and she was just so embarrassed, and she's apologized. We're like, it's fine, it's all good, don't worry.
Well, it's easy to do, especially if she's wearing like heeled boots
or
something.
I think that was the problem. I think she had shoes on that she probably didn't wear very often, and she was quite embarrassed.
That's probably it. Okay, do you remember my favorite time of the night, though? My favorite was when Kane Brown brought the older couple from...
That was very cute.
Where were
Caramius.
they from? Caramius, that's right.
Because Kane was very subtle going, I don't believe this is a real place. You could see that look on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you say it. Hands him the mic.
And then he sang and they danced on stage. They held each other and danced. That was so romantic. I had tears in my eyes.
It was very sweet, and it shows you the savvy entertainer to see this couple in the audience and go, there's something here.
And then wasn't it cool that at the end he went around the stage and he signed hats and T-shirts and somebody took off their boot and had him sign it, and he took the time to do all that at the end. I thought that was so neat. He went around the stage and did that.
That's always a bold move to me if you hand a guy your boot, because what if he hands it back to the wrong person and they just and I'm what? And see you walk home on one shoe. Like that's what I'd be thinking.
That's true. Somebody threw a pink hat on the stage, cowgirl hat.
Yeah.
And then he didn't know who it belonged to. Oh, goodness. The other exciting thing that happened the week before, actually, for me, and why we did a replay last Saturday, is because I was in Vegas for the first time in a long time, and I was at the Teams event, Remax event, and I got to go, and it was really fun. There was not a lot of good shows happening that week. Nothing was really on. I wanted to go to American Idol, or, of course, Adele. I would always see Adele again, and she plays down there, but not till weekends. But I went and did the Excalibur show. You know, the horses. And
I've been to that.
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah. And you eat with your hands.
You eat with your hands. And they have, I swear, the best tomato soup I've ever had in my life there. I don't know why.
Oh, I didn't get the tomato soup.
Yeah, I had the tomato soup as part of my meal, and it was like the best tomato soup I've ever had.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And I'm like, how is this like at this dinner theater thing with knights and horse and everything else, this is the best soup I've had.
Wow.
Really?
Big, your own Cornish hen and corn and the yam. Oh my gosh, it was just amazing.
Well,
and
we went there. I don't know if they still do it. Merlin the magician comes out and he picks on a couple people in the crowd. My buddy made sure I had that seat. He called ahead, and so I was getting picked on. But the problem was because the way I was reacting, being a smart aleck, he started picking on my buddy too. So we both got picked on as part of the show. I'm amazed we didn't end up as part of the show.
Did he know you were from Canada?
Yeah, my buddy did the whole, because my buddy, like you, is American by birth. So he's like, my Canadian buddy's going to be there, and we're going to be, I know you do this because you've been to the show before. So he got a hold of them in advance and made sure that I was sitting in the seat that they would pick on. And yeah.
This was their Christmas show. So it was actually
a different show.
Yeah. So it was different than usual because I've gone twice before. Mm-hmm. I just love it. But this time I was on my own. I was on the corner. I saw everything. I was in like the best seat of the house, but not that seat. That would have been a fun seat. Okay, but we only have so much time. So we wanted to talk because it's the end of the year. You know, this time is for really spending quality time with family. It's about giving. It's about wrapping things up, ending things, and it's about new beginnings. And it's just such a magical time of the year. I absolutely love this time of the year. And but the new beginnings is what I wanted to focus on today's show because there's a lot of new real estate laws happening starting January 1st. So one, and we've talked about this before, and we're going to go through all the ones starting January 1st, is the bill C-19, the ban on foreign buyers. So starting, of course, January 2023, non-Canadians will be banned from buying homes across Canada through the Prohibition on the Purchase of Residential Property by Non-Canadians Act. This act prohibits non-citizens and non-permanent residents from purchasing residential property in Canada for 2 years. The act also restricts non-Canadians from avoiding the ban by using corporations or other entities to purchase residential property. Both the non-Canadian purchaser of prohibited property and any person or entity that knowingly assists in the purchase can be fined up to $10,000 and the property may be forced to be sold. Now, residential property, it includes, because this has been one of the topics about this whole law and what is a residential property? Now, how is it defined? So it includes detached houses or similar buildings of 1 to 3 dwelling units. So you can have a triplex and, that's not included, as well as parts of buildings such as semi-detached houses, strata units, or other similar premises. How does the foreign buyer ban impact realtors? Well, along with lawyers and notaries, we all owe our clients obligation to inform them, and the legislation does not rely on realtors to enforce the prohibition. However, it does allow for penalties to be imposed on any party found guilty of knowingly assisting a non-Canadian in violating the prohibition. So, exemptions. At this point, there is still lots that we do not know about the act because details have not been completely announced through regulation. There may be exemptions for certain groups of people, types of residential property, and special circumstances, but these have not yet been established. Also, it is still unclear what it's meant by control and what is considered purchase within the act. The final regulations are intended to be published later this month, so it should be soon. So those are some of the things that are happening. That's the big one on the foreign buyers, which is quite a huge change. Now, there's potentially a ban coming on exclusive listings. So this one's unique and interesting because we have listings that go public on MLS and everywhere else, and we've got exclusive listings that aren't meant to be advertised publicly. And so there is the CREA, which is the Canadian Real Estate Association, is wanting to implement these strict changes of not maybe allowing exclusive listings. So we've had our say as realtors and as a community, and so they're looking at it, and we'll have further information probably next year, but they are considering some changes.
I don't really see the negative to a exclusive listing. I mean, if you don't want to sell your house and have 1 million people coming to an open house and stuff like that, and you have an agent that you trust and have used, and Maybe you're even on the fence of whether you want to sell. Well, why would you want to go, 100% all in if you could do a exclusive listing?
Yeah, exclusive listings, I find sellers who want to do an exclusive listing, it's usually because of privacy. Maybe it's a business and they don't want it out in the general public, or it's a very, somebody who's established in a public figure or, a major entertainer. They want to keep things private and they don't really want it out there. So they're going to hire a realtor who has a really great network to be able to sell it without making it all public. But then on the flip side, with exclusive listings for buyers, why do buyers want exclusive listings? Well, because they know it's not generally out there and they know they can usually get a better deal. It's not advertised everywhere. So a lot of times developers, they'll only buy exclusive listings. So
yeah, it seems like a lot of wins and not a lot of negatives to me, but what do I know?
Well, you know a lot after us doing this show.
Well, that's true.
And selling and buying yourself so many times, actually. And then there's also the Strata Property Act. So the banning of strata rental restriction bylaws and the limiting of age restriction bylaws in strata housing to 55 plus and over, and nothing underneath that. So right now we've got 25 plus, 35 plus, we've got 45 plus, 55 plus. So we've got all these different age range limits, but that's going away, and you can only have 55 plus starting in the new year.
The one just across the parking lot here, that's a 55 plus complex.
Is that lady sunbathing? Oh no, it's not sunny.
No, it's not sunbathing. She's been done for a couple months, I think, but she still was all summer. She was out there getting her vitamin D.
That's good. We all need it more and more.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, that's a good example. That complex there is a 55 plus complex.
Exactly. And how is it going to change? The ones that were already established, obviously there's grandfathering of those who live there and own there already, but it's going to make some changes in the rental market.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. Now, do we have to go on break? Or?
We should probably take a break now.
Okay.
I know we have more to talk about, and we'll do that when we come back. But if people want more information and have a look at your listings and things like that, where can they go?
MicheleCummins.ca.
We're back with more right after this.